Good evening, family. Welcome to Sunday Connections. I'd like to thank all our guests for being here, first and foremost. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate the support. I'm going to keep a tradition alive, Colton's tradition, with saying what we're grateful for. And I'm gonna start it off. I'm truly grateful that I'm still here standing before you tonight. And I'm even more grateful that I have brothers to pull me back from the abyss when I'm feeling like where I was at, man. Seriously, I'm truly grateful for all you guys. I'm grateful for this place. I'm grateful, Rich. Seriously. Michael, all you guys. Anyway, anybody else?
Grateful for I'm grateful for the opportunity and a safe place to actually change my behavior in my life.
Go ahead, Sean.
I'm grateful for the brotherhood.
Go ahead.
I'm grateful for all my brothers I have here to help me, move along and the hard work they put in day after day.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. So it is truly an honor and a privilege to introduce tonight's speaker. This is a really close friend of mine, and I'm honored to call him a friend. He's helped me through some super tough times that I've had here, and he has helped a lot of people. We talk about the opportunity that you can have once you graduate Red Barn all the time, man, and he's a prime example of that. If he stays the course where he's going in his life, he is going to be truly successful, and it's all because of Red Barn. What he's doing with Sticky Bird, I don't know if he'll touch on it, but it's because of Sticky Bird. It's because of Red Barn. He knows what he wants, and he's going for it, man, and it's truly inspiring. He was a leader for a long time. He was our house manager for a long time. If you guys, those of you that don't know him, get to know him. Pick his brain. He can help you through. He can help you through a lot, man. Seriously, he will save your life. Anyway, without further ado, I will announce Chris Wyckoff.
Hey guys, yeah. So I am Chris, man. And I don't know how to start this off, honestly. It's weird. I'll just start off with a little bit of my story, man. I grew up in a really good family. I grew up in Spanish Fork, and we spent a lot of time in California. And that was where I was, and it was like 11,000 people when I was a kid, man. It was just small, and we threw bales of hay for money, and we did stuff like that. We mowed lawns. And I grew up really stable, very successful family. And then I had some abuse. I had some abuse happen when I was 7. And it changed the course of my life. I went through that, and I started using tobacco and alcohol, and then really progressively, really quickly went down a path that led me very far astray and put me away from my family. We got some guests coming in right now. Whoa. And so I endured that, and then I went through just pushing myself away from the support that I had. I know a lot of you guys can relate to that. Everything that I had that was good wasn't good enough. I was a very entitled person, and I thought I had the world coming to me, and I didn't do anything to deserve anything of the goodness that I had, man. All I did was take and abuse and hurt. And I caused so much chaos in those years, especially in my formative years of a teenager. I had many, many assault charges. I had 17 in 3 months when I was 12. I was that guy. And I kept doing that, man. And I just stayed on that cycle. And then, and then I found guitar. And that's where a lot of my spirituality and where my journey comes from, man. When I was 11, I got my first guitar, and that was the solitude and the ability to express myself in a way that wasn't just through being mean or arrogant, and able to express myself in a way that was positive and helpful and brought out my inner light. And I kept with that for a lot of years, and I learned how to play many, many instruments. And that's what gave me peace, and still does, man. When I was getting ready to come do this, I went and played guitar for 20 minutes. It was that'll center me, right? That's a grounding technique I have. It's a skill that I was given from whatever's out there that I get to use and utilize. And but I started dating a girl when I was 18, and a couple years into it, we started like using like harder drugs. And that was when I like really took a turn, and I started going to music school, and I went for like 2 years, and I left that because I got into a band, and I started like, all right, I'm going to go after my dreams. But it's like my dreams were so convoluted with drugs and negativity and alcohol and abuse and violence and everything that was just, that caused pain to me and to everyone around me. Like, I did a lot of really bad things. And like, I got all that stuff off in my senior retreat, and I don't have to relive all that. But like, the things I did, man, I shouldn't be here today. Like, if I got what I deserved, I wouldn't be at all who I am or where I am. Like, I would be gone, locked up in a hole for the rest of my life. And that's truly what I deserve. What I've earned, something very different. I've earned happiness and peace and love and support. And like, like, so that's like a basic story, right? Like, everybody can relate to that that's here. Like, we all go through struggle. We all go through these things. We go through pain. We cause pain. And then it's all about what we do with it. It's all about what we do with it. Like, I got married, and I was really happy, right? I had some kids. I lost my daughter. Like, I had to give her up to DCFS custody when I was younger, when I was 26, 13 years ago, because I was so selfish and entitled that I wasn't able to give up my addiction for someone else. I remember telling them, like, I'm not ready. Like, and it's like, and I knew, right? It was unfair to that child to put them through what I was going to put them through if I kept them. And so like, I had to be selfless and selfish, super, super selfish at the same time. But then, like, I didn't want another kid. And I got married, and my wife wanted one. And I was like, yeah, like, I think I'm a good person. And so I'll do this. And then like, things went well for a long while in my life. Like, I didn't have any charges. I didn't have any crimes. And then all of a sudden I got hit with like everything horrible, like, that I could do. All the comeuppance from the past come up, man. Everything that you do comes back. Sometimes it comes back tenfold. And that's what happened. I got what I deserved. And then I had another kid, right? And I'm here at Red Barn. I come to Red Barn, and my son's a year. And this is like where a lot of like the growth in me that happened, that I get to give to you guys, that I get to like help everybody with. This is where it all started when I was here. I was an intern, and I knew I had DCFS hanging over my head, and I knew I had some stuff. And when I was a freshman, I was like, 6 months in my program, like 5 months actually in my program. And I had to make the decision if I was going to stay at Red Barn or leave and try and keep custody of my son. And I knew I would go to prison, and I wasn't going to go for 6 months, man. I was going to go for the rest of my life. Like, I was going to do 80% of life. And so I was like, the best thing for me to do right now. And I remember sitting over there with Logan in the RBO in the Corp D office and telling the judge and just sobbing about how I think the most mature thing that I could ever do was give that little boy over to state's custody so that he could have a future, and so that I could have a future. And then you talk about difficult. Like, that was the single hardest thing that I've ever done. And it was the start of my buying in. It was that moment that I was like, man, if I'm going to do this, if I'm capable of these things, if the people that I have here support me enough to help me through this is where I need to be, right? This is what it is. And so I jumped in, man. And like at that moment, like I started checking in a lot more, and I started doing things that were to benefit me in my future. Like I started working hard, like harder than hard, so that I could have a future. I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted a leadership role. I knew that I had stuff to give. And so I wanted it. And then I got my leadership role real quick after that. And I was in leadership, like Tyson said, for over 3/4 of my stay at Red Barn. I hated games, right? I hated them, hated games, until I had a moment where I gamed Christopher, and everything changed at Sticky Bird and for me in my program the next day. Like I saw how the process worked. And man, like the peace that I felt after that, when it was like, man, I can actually like use my voice for positive, and I didn't have to scream at him, and I didn't have to, curse him out and be angry or hit him. Like I could do things like in a positive way that everybody's telling me that's possible. And it worked, man. And I just kept doing it, man. Like I kept going. And it was difficult, man. Like that story about my son, right? That's hard, man. And it still lives with me. Like I barely got pictures of my son last week. Like the first time. Like I get some hope that I get to maybe see him in the future. And like, man, what a reignition of a flame that is. Like someone that's already very driven, like when you pour nitrous on it, it's like, watch out, right? But like, man, it's so like I've been through some struggles at Red Barn, man. There's nothing that people have gone through that I haven't gone through, guys. It's not like a hard process, man. It doesn't matter how mad, it doesn't matter how many hours, it doesn't matter how resentful or pissed off or just angry you get at an individual, man. All you have to do is get through that moment. That's what I realized. And that's the message that I want to share with you. It doesn't matter. These little moments, man, they're so easy to get through. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. A day is very lofty for me. I did it for 5 minutes at a time as an intern. That was what I could give him. I told Curtis that. I was like, I can't give you a full day, but I can give you 5 minutes, man. And then I reassessed after 5 minutes. Now I'm almost 26 months in. Like those little things helped me out. And like, and what Sunday Connections is about is our spirituality, right? It's kind of our story and our spirituality and where we got. But like I tell you guys, man, if it wasn't for people like Shane Goodbar and Anjette and Brandon and Michael and Nicholas and Wayne and Jeffrey, and then getting Michael Page and having these people that are in my life that get to help me every day, especially Shane, right? My mentor, one of my best friends ever. Like if I didn't have him to sit and vent to and have listened to my bull crap, however wrong I am or however right I feel, to get called out and told me, maybe you should look at it through a different lens. Why are you giving your peace away? These things, man, like if I didn't have those moments, like I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to be confident, stand with my shoulders high, and do it with like a support of a family that I've built instead of that I was born into. Like I've said it before, but like family's what you make it, right? Like although water can dilute blood, blood cannot dilute water. Like your blood isn't what makes your family. It's what supports you. And like not having my family at graduation, I had to come to really realize that. And it was Anjette and Michael talking to me, and like, it was hard, but it's like, I know that I have support. I know that I have people that care about me. And so I get to keep going. But what I find peace in, right? What I find is my spiritual journey. Like I'm not a subscriber to the belief of a God or a religion. Like that's not me. Like, and I'm fine with this because I find peace in other things, man. Like if I get to go sit on my porch and play guitar, like how much peace I can find from that. how much peace I can find from checking in with someone, from helping James through a hard time. Like those moments, those are what give me peace and solitude and happiness and make me feel weightless. Like I could be going through it and I do those things, man. And that's what I find. I find happiness in those things, those little tiny things that are big to someone else. It's just a moment of my time, but it's like a moment that I share that'll live forever. I could find peace in the mountains. I went on a hike with Michael the other week, and that was awesome, right? It was just like us in the mountain, hiking and talking. Like those are great moments. Those are peaceful. Those are moments that carry you through. That's where spirituality for me comes in. Spirituality comes from animals, from all these things, man. Like I'm not like the most materialistic person. I like to have guitars and I like to have music, but I don't care about clothes and I don't care about all these things. They don't matter. Like I can take my experience with me. I can't take my money. Can't take my clothes. Can't take my nice shoes. So they don't matter to me. I came to that realization when I was a lot younger. That like the experiences that I have and I can share are what will be my legacy. Like the biggest thing for me at Red Barn, guys, was Sticky Bird. Like flat out. When I got to Sticky Bird, when I was like 2-3 weeks, I think I was 2 weeks into the program, and I knew I wanted to stay. I didn't know there was a restaurant in Red Barn. I had no idea when I was sitting down there. I was like, and then I noticed it, and I was like, okay. And I hit Shane up. I was like, I want Sticky Bird, man. And he was like, I've been watching you. I see how you play games. I see how you carry yourself. He's like, you got to wait. We couldn't go there as interns when I was an intern. So I had to wait till I was a freshman. But that made me work harder, right? And then I got advanced early, and it was like, I got there. And I've been there forever now. Been there for over 23 months of my entire program. But like, I'd run restaurants before, and none of that experience even mattered. Like, it helped, but like the way that like things were done to a level that I saw fit was what made my program super meaningful to me. Was being able to get guys, like I said in the announcement, like about Lucas and Joseph, man. Those are the moments that make me, like when I see you guys go after a goal and then I get to help you get there, like with Lewis and with Colton, man, with Kay, with all those guys, man, like that's so meaningful, and it fills me up. Like seeing people that are just broken, and they come in and they're like, I really want this, and they go and get it, man. That's what this place is about. Every principle that you get taught comes out in those moments, man. Each one, the getting out of yours by getting into theirs, the everything. Like exemplifying a behavior so they can see what they want is what you have, and so they try and do what you do. They emulate you, man. That's like a 10-foot tall feeling, guys. Like when you get to do that, and it gives me like meaning and purpose. Like the restaurant saved my life. It changed my life. Like eternally grateful. Like I don't think there are words in any known language that can express how I feel about that, like at all. I find a lot of peace and a lot of meaning in the check-ins that I get to do with guys. Like my life up to 2 years ago didn't really matter, right? Like I didn't think I would be alive, and I'll be 40 in January. I never thought I would make it that far. The way I went and the way I lived my life was the opposite of now. like to the nth degree. Like I go hard in the paint, and I don't have that mechanism that tells you to stop. Like at all. I'm very fortunate. You all are to be here. Like it's as hard as it is, it's like it's so simple. It's so simple. Like I've had the best moments and the hardest moments ever here. Like I've ran the gamut. And like as meaningful as those great moments were, man, the growth that I got from those hard moments was even better. Like the struggle is something that my grateful is the struggle. Like, cause like that struggle made me develop a thick and a tough textured skin that I can handle some things that I never thought I would be able to. I never thought that I would be able to have success in the normal way, right? Like a 9-to-5 or a job that had meaning where I got to help people. Like I never thought I would ever even have those in my sights. I thought I was going to get out of Red Barn and leave with the $10,000 or whatever that I saved up on my workout and go out and be the best drug dealer that there ever was. Like that's what I thought. Was wrong. Very wrong to have thought that, but that's where I was when I got here. Man, I don't know if you guys know this, but when I got here, like Curtis was my strength and he was our kitchen manager, and I used to just sit and just rock back and forth like this because I couldn't take the day. Like I was so anxious that I was just crawling out of my skin, and I was just broken, beaten, and shattered inside. My heart felt like it was the size of a dime, and my body was sore, and I was just like, I wasn't having anything, man. Like I was just, and it's like, and through the coaching and the help of people that I cared about, that I turned my trust into, like I got goals, man. Like that's the biggest thing that's one of the biggest things that I learned at Red Barn too, was to set meaningful goals, short and long term. Like, because a long-term goal is just a series of short-term goals met. And so when I wanted leadership, I knew I had to get to this stage. So it's like I have to get that far in the program. I knew that if I wanted to get the crew lead, I had to stay this so that I could do this. I had to prove that I was valuable. I had to prove that I had skills. When I wanted to become a house manager, like I had to do all the things, man. Like no goal is too lofty. I mean, if you want to like grow wings and fly, right? But like if you set some goals and you're like, I want to get there because like I've seen people like me get it, right? Like I can do that too. All you have to do is try, man. You just do. You just get out of bed and you get the little wins every day. It's super simple. Like it's not a hard principle. This program will put you through the test, but it's so easy. You just get up and you go to work and you do what you're supposed to do, and you don't do the crap that we did in jail. Like you just leave all that stuff right over there, man. No one wants it. If you want it, it's out there. Like tell people all the time, man, what are you running to? Like, do you want your misery and your pain and your torture and your chaos and all the things that you cause, the hurt that you cause? Because it's out there waiting for each and every one of us. It's still out there waiting for Michael, right? Like you see these people, it's like they're one step away from jumping back into it too, man. They have to keep themselves in check just the same as we do. It never ends. But it's a win, right? I didn't put a substance into my body, and I didn't get in a fight, and I didn't call someone some names, and I didn't do some dumb stuff that I knew I could, but I knew that I shouldn't. Like those things are like, it's super easy. Like Like I love this place, man. Like I get frustrated with people, but like Red Barn is perfect in its of itself. The people that are running it always have the best things that they say or do. No, they're people. They're invaluable. Like everybody messes up. And it's all in how we want to take it. How much peace do you want? Like, I know that I want all. I know I don't want to feel miserable ever again. I know that I don't want to feel like that guy that walked in here that rode up with Kevin Reel. That was just like, you don't have to be in jail anymore. Like, and that was all I cared about. Like, now it's like, I realize all the things that I have and could have more of. All the things that I earned, that I worked. Like, am I still entitled and selfish and arrogant? Yeah, very much so. But do I know how to keep it in check a little bit better than I used to? Yeah. So is that growth? Yeah. Like one of the things I wanted to touch on too was like, if you feel like you've gotten everything out of this program, like how wrong you are. Like, I feel like I got so much and I put everything in, put a lot of effort into getting the things that I got. Could I have done better? Way better. But am I happy? Yeah. Am I consistent? Yeah. Am I an honest person? Yeah. Like, do I do the things that I say I'm going to do? Yeah. Like, and so I got more than I bargained for coming here. Like, I think that that's like the biggest thing that I could pass on to anybody is like, get everything you can. Like, if there's somewhat that you think that you can do a little better in, then go for it. There's something you want, man. Like, if you want to feel the pain that I felt, I could share it with you all day. Like, I don't like burdening that load. Like, it sucks. But like, I get to show up every day for people. And that's what gives me my spirituality and what gives me peace. Like, it's hard, but it's worth it. Like, I don't know what else to touch on, man. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to elaborate on any.
The third year for you, Chris.
It's hard, man. It is super difficult. It's way weirder than I thought it was going to be, man. Like, it's great. Like, the little bit of freedom is great, right? Like, those things are great. Like, I miss being a house manager. I miss going to leadership. That part for me is hard. Being a little more disconnected from the house is hard and it hurts. But it's besides that, like it's awesome. Like, a third year is like, man, like the way that I feel daily is better than I ever felt before. Like, I get to do things now. Like, I still get to be held to a standard of Red Barn, but I get to like do a little bit for me, but I still get to Red Barn it up. And so that's awesome, right? Like, I can go in the community and I can show up and I can hold a door open for someone, or I can like help a lady at Harmon's with her groceries. And I can do those types of things. And it's like, I don't have to come home and tell people about it. It's for me and for her, right? Or for them. Like, but I still get to show up. And so those things are really meaningful, man. And so like with a third year, that's awesome. And like, also with being a third year, it's really cool. Like, being able to parlay with Michael or with Nicholas about things in the program. You know, when your voice matters, use it. Like, that's And so like, but besides, it was pretty great. You should do it. What's up, Tyson?
What's next for you, son?
What's next?
You gave me this place is really good.
Man, hopefully a job. Sticky Bird's like where it's at for me. Restaurants are like meaningful to me. And so like what's next is just being here, man. Like I don't want to get too far in the future. Like, but right now it's just staying the course. Just doing what I have to do to get there, man. Like whatever chapter happens next is gonna happen. But like, you know, like I would love to be a Red Barn staff member. Like that's like I would love to be able to stay connected and help people for a long time. I feel like the things that I say have impact on a lot of guys. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've said or beaten the crap out of guys in games, I feel like a lot of them have learned. Like I've been thanked for it, and like those are meaningful moments. And so like staying connected is what's next for me.
You said you mentioned struggle with people while you're here, man. Like, tell the younger guys, like, how did you like buy into Red Barn, but learn how to work with people? You kind of get what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of conflicts in between guys working together. Like, how'd you make that switch and just buy into the program, look at the bigger picture, I guess?
So like, you have to realize like when you're here that it's so different from like the world, right? Like you get a job and you get to go home and put this part of your life off. But here it's like it bleeds into itself, right? Like you get to go home with the guys you just worked with. And so like the easiest way and the only thing that I can say is just like, you know, I get 3 craps to give a year, man. And like, you're not worth one. Like, it's not worth it. Like, so I would just stop and I would just think like what can I do that's going to make, you know, this person's life miserable? Should I go with that? Or should I like do something that's going to make me feel peaceful and like make them better? And like, really, that's all it boils down to is just like treating them like how you want to be treated. If you feel like an injustice has been done, there's a thing called the process that's like super simple to use. You just say, hey, don't talk to me like that or treat me like that. And then you address it. And then if they do it again, you just keep doing it. You just keep doing it until it stops. Like it'll eventually either stop or there'll be some like major repercussions for it. Like, because it's like, it just doesn't fly here. So like the easiest thing to do is just see them as a person. Know that they're going through it the same as you. You're no different than him. He's no different than him. Like, it's just about being compassionate. Like, we're all the exact same. And so like when you're struggling with somebody, get out of your way and do something for that person. Like, what can you do to make their life easier? What can you, like, it's really, are you going to make your life harder by making their life harder? No, that's idiocy. It's just like, it's a principle of just like being so arrogant in your selfishness that you can't even see the fact that you're just hurting yourself by damaging them. And so like, if you just stop and take a step back and realize that you would be so mad if they treated you the way that you want to treat them, and you see them as that, like it would help. Like getting through work, man, like the people that I still struggle with people, man. Like, I don't think that'll ever end in life. Like, you always have many struggles with people. Like, are you going to let it affect you? Or are you just going to do something to make it better? Like, are you going to hurt? Or do you want to hurt? Like, is your happiness worth being right? No. Like, sometimes it's easier to just take a step back and be like, I'm good. Like, whatever happens, happens, man. Like, am I gonna give all my power away to this person and make work a struggle? Like, or do I just wanna be at peace and just find a reason to be? Like, it's really like, it's so hard and simple at the same time, right? Because you're gonna struggle, but like is it worth the struggle, or is it worth just seeing them as they're going through the same journey as you? In 6 months, you're going to look back at it and be like, man, that was dumb. I promise you, you will. Like, and then you'll be cool with them, and then you'll grow with them, and you'll be happy, and you'll be the best friends, man. Like, Jake, did you have something? Saw someone's hand over there.
So like you mentioned Shane now as your mentor, you talk to him, you kind of vent to him a little bit. Like, how do you start opening up with people, man? Like, no one, when you first get here, you don't want to talk to nobody. I know I did it. It's like, how do you make that switch to where it's like, I don't know, maybe our old ways where that wasn't cool, or that was the thing to do, or men, you know, like how do you make that change and like switch over to where like you start releasing things and letting go and talking to our older brothers? I mean, how did that happen for you?
You know, like I had to give up my pride and the idea of toxic masculinity. Like, oh, I can't share my emotions because I'm less of a man, right? Like once you get over that hump where you're just like, you're so stuck in the idea that being a man consists of holding your stuff in and then blowing up is ridiculous in in the nature of itself. Like you just have to understand that like you're not going to want to talk to everybody, right? Like I didn't check in with my house managers. Like Nicholas was my house manager for a long time, and I tried to talk to him one time and never did. Like it doesn't have to be a person that's your, you know what I mean, your house manager or your leader. Like you can always find someone that will connect with you, and you just talk to them. Like you got to have common ground. Like that's what I found. That's what I found in Curtis, and what I found in Shane, and what I found in some of these guys. Jeffrey. Like when I found those guys, Wayne, I had a past with Wayne that I didn't even recognize him so many years ago. But like I talked to him at work. He helped me through a really hard time one time when I was a sticky bird that I was just done. And then he came and checked in on me a few days later. And it was like, it's those moments, right, where I got vulnerable with someone just a little bit, and then they showed that they cared enough to circle back, that I recognized that I should just keep checking in with that person. So like just giving trust, man, like it's earned, but you have to give it to earn more. Like you can't just, no one's just going to come into your life and you're like, yeah, I'm going to, here's all my baggage. Please help me. Like you're going to overwhelm them. But if you give a little bit and you see that it can go somewhere, that's how I did it. Like I saw that there was promise and trust and a future in that relationship, and so I invested more by opening up and them opening up with me.
So, like, I'm sure there was times when you felt like you let yourself down or other than out the car, and how important is it for you to go forward, and what does that look like? What does that do at the time?
Man, one time I got a bunch of hours from not using the process, like with Christopher Kerr, and I had 3 slips in the box on him, and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting this one. I still don't understand it really, but like it was like whew, way up. But and then 10 days later I got 12 more. I got 18 more for the same thing, but it was another instance, and there was other leaders, and it's like I just want to miss the point, right? I'm like, man, they didn't get even talked to, and I'm getting 18. Like this is ridiculous, right? And I flipped out on Logan, and I yelled at John, and then I yelled at Jeffrey, and then I yelled at Nicholas. And I yelled at everybody, and I got the game 3 times for it because it just kept coming back up. But like, it was like, did I learn from it? Yeah, I fell for it. I was like, all right, cool, man. So next time before something gets to that level, I'll go talk to somebody about it. Like, that's the whole failing forward for me is like a lot of the times, like if I say something out loud to someone and they just hear me, even if it's like invalid, even if I'm wrong and I just got it off my chest, I just have to say it to say it. And then I feel better because like, I know I can go to bed at night saying that I did my best. And like, I tried to handle that situation. It didn't work out the way that I thought was the best, but you know, maybe someone's idea was better than mine. And that's how I did it, man. Like I just really didn't want to feel the way that I felt in those moments. So I didn't allow myself to go down that rabbit hole again. Like if you allow yourself to jump in fully, man, there's like gonna be tunnels, right? You're gonna get lost, man. Like I had to check in the other week, right? Like the thought, like just because you know, a dead end street's the best place to turn around. Like it is. Like just because you hit a wall doesn't mean doesn't mean it's time to throw in the towel and say, I'm good. I'm washing my hands of this place, or I'm washing my hands into the future and everything that I could have. Like you just got to keep going. Like failing forward, you messed up. That's where you learn the most. I know when I mess up, I'm like, oh, okay, I won't do that again because I had an adverse effect, right? And then the holding yourself accountable, like I messed up. And then most of the time it doesn't even matter, right? It's just like, oh, thank you. And then you just get to keep going, man. Like, and then you have a hyper high awareness. Okay, I did that this time. I won't do it again. And it's super simple, James. Like you just have to understand that, like the feeling that you have when you do a repeat offense, let's say, is worse than the first time, right? And so are you going to allow yourself to do it again and then again and then again? Or are you going to learn from it and like do your best to not feel that way again?
Approach you guys to get out of the box.
Best approach to get out of the box with someone, man. Like just forgive and forget. Like understand that, like when you get to the point where you're just like, man, this is the same person as me. Like they went through similar struggles, they went through the same thing, like, and you show a little compassion, like a little empathy, man. Like the second you can put your feet in someone else's shoes and see how they feel is like a very productive way to get out of the box. Like when you just stop thinking of like, because most of the time when we're in the box, right, we're like, oh, they're out to get me, and so I'm going to try and get them, you know, and we get this stupid narrative in our head where we want to sit and come up with this narrative of crap, really, right? Like, I just want to do this because like he's doing, and then like everything negative that happens to you is always that one person. Colton and Chris R had it. It was awesome. They were like, oh, my bed's unmade. It was Chris R. And then Chris R would say the same thing about Colton. And it was like, man, they're in the box, so let's just work them together until they fix it, right? But it was like, when they realized that the other person was a person, like that they were the same person just walking through the same journey, regardless of age and experience, it fixed itself. So like when you can realize that, like, that you're just walking a life. You just came from life of misery, so did they. Both trying to find happiness. Just understand that you're on the same level. Lucas.
Most memorable moment.
Oh man, hard. There's a lot. You know, like my favorite moment ever is, a lot of you guys haven't been on moves with Chris. A lot of you have, Chris, or was when we messed with him, because he knows everybody, right? He knows every single person in the world. And he's always like, I know them. I went to school with them. He's like, no, you didn't, dude. They're from Germany. You didn't go. But this one time, Shane was having a meeting with this lady. She was actually there the other day. They were following up on it, but like, and Chris was like, I know her. And I was like, no, you don't, dude. He's like, yeah, I do. And I told Shane, and Shane was like, well, we got to mess with him. And so we were like, hey, Chris, she said she knew you. And he ran up to my face. He's like, I told you. And then Shane started laughing. He's like, I'm just messing with you. And he got really mad. And that was one of my favorite moments, man. Like those moments are the best, man. Like when you really like, you know, some of the other moments that I've had, like, you know, like when I signed my son over and I went back to work afterwards, like getting a hug from Kaylin Johnson, that was one of my favorite moments, because like I gamed him for flat out hating me. I was like, I feel like you hate me. And then like a few months later, we're working together and he's like one of the biggest supports. Like that was awesome. Like that was cool. And it took us in a really good relationship until he left, man. Like that's one of my favorite moments. Like, and then like going on the mountain with Shane and Kay, and like getting frozen yogurt and having some lady get all mad at us because she wanted ice cream and we couldn't tell her where to get ice cream, and she's swearing at us, I want some ice cream. We're like, we don't know where to get ice cream. It's really good though. If you want, it's right there. And she just swore at us. Like, that was really fun too, man. Those little moments are the best. Boom.
No more questions? Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you for that, brother. So normally this is where I'd give him a book from Rich Hawes, Connecting the Dots, but you know where it's at in the library, so go ahead and grab one if you'd like a copy. I hope you guys heard that, and it's truly inspirational. Just know that if you think you're alone in your struggles, stop flattering yourself. We all struggle, man. The struggle's real inside of all of us. But if you apply the things that we learn here, it teaches you how to overcome adversity and how to learn from it, how to grow, how to overcome anything. Man, he's a shining example of that. So let's give one more round of applause.
I'm going to have to apologize. I've been traveling for like 2 weeks straight and I got run over like a train wreck last night. So we tried to be 5 minutes early, which is 5 minutes late, right? But I had to go take something because I literally couldn't make it here from Salt Lake. We were spending family time out within Jet's family this morning, and I'm just draining. And she's like, we got to get there. And I said, I've got to take some medicine or I'm not even gonna be able to stand up. So what am I supposed to talk? Is this like a roast? I'm supposed to roast you? Yeah. I'll talk about some highlights, right? I've been blessed because I've had really incredible people in my life. You know, some of them are in the back. A lot of them are here. A lot of them are still in the hearts in a lot of ways. But watching Shane and Chris and a lot of the people finally get to that point where they make their decision and they decide where they want to put their energy and effort to, that becomes an aha moment for me. We can talk about restaurants. We can talk about how cool things are. And, you know, you can get really ego driven by seeing something that's successful that people can touch, but it's the pieces in life that you can't touch. It's the things that you know that are sitting in somebody's heart, and that change, that's when it becomes really cool. And we've stuck, you know, pretty close through a lot of this. And I had to have some boundaries. You know, some of you know some stories. I broke a rule early on. I got really close with a lot of guys, right? And then I found out that if I stuck around long enough, I could watch for that moment where all of a sudden that change in their heart happened. And I got to see it tenfold with this guy. I've seen a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more in all of you guys. So I don't know if that's what I was supposed to say or not, but that's what came from my heart. So that's my share.
Okay, with that, it's Sunday Connections. Have a good evening.